Good morning. Welcome to Touchpoint with Pastor Nader. Coming to you from the parsonage over here on Heiner Road today. And it's good to be with you all this morning and to talk about what's coming up for Sunday, to share some prayer concerns and talk about some upcoming events in the life of our church. And so as we kick off today, we welcome you in the name and love of Jesus Christ. Let's talk about some upcoming events real quick. The first is that we are excited about Vacation Bible School. Vacation Bible School is June 1st. No, it's not. It's June 5th through 8th. June 5th through 8th, from 5 to 8. And so that's all you have to remember. 5-8-5-8. 5-8-5-8. June 5th through 8th from 5 to 8. And we're doing the Jerusalem Marketplace. This is going to be about Jesus' final week in Jerusalem. And the children's directors, Kendra and Kathy, are so excited about this. And every time they mention something, I'm like, wow, this is going to be an awesome VBS. The kids are going to be immersed in the Christ experience of that Jerusalem week, and so it'll be incredible. I am excited about it. I do know that they are going to be starting to decorate the fellowship hall like after Sunday or whenever they start. They're going to be starting very soon. We're starting to decorate the fellowship hall. So, yeah, it's going to be exciting. Now, the 1st through the 3rd of June is the youth local missions. And they're partnering with a variety of churches in Parker County. And so that'll be coming on June 1st through 3rd. And then also the youth are doing a camp out on the 20th and 21st of May. So those are three big youth and children's events coming up here soon. The camp out, the youth local mission, and then the Vacation Bible School. Now also, in addition to that, we will have 4 of the Wednesday night fellowships this summer. We'll do 1 in June. We'll do 2 in July and 1 in August. And then also alternative weeks. The youth are having what they call See You at the Pool. And so there's going to be a lot going on this summer. And take advantage of those opportunities. Let's go into some prayer requests. As we speak right now, my brother Joseph is in a procedure at Harris in Fort Worth. He's having a transesophageal echocardiogram. And so prayers for Joseph, my brother Joseph, as he is in that procedure right now. The procedure is to determine whether or not a valve in his heart was ever closed after birth. And so, which could be the reason for him experiencing some blood clots. And so prayers for him right now as he is going through this transesophageal echocardiogram, and I covet your prayers for my brother. My daughter is cracking up over here. Also prayers for my sister-in-law, Sarah Nader, as she lost her mother this yesterday, or 2 days ago, pardon me. Her mother's name is Mary Ann Van Horn, and so prayers for Sarah as she mourns her mother's loss, and also for her dad, Terry. Continued prayers for Nick Kern in his recovery from his car accident, and most especially the frontal lobe injury that he had incurred. Continued prayers for the kids taking the STAR test this week. Continued prayers for Molly Harris in her battle with cancer. She will be undergoing radiation treatment here soon. And so that is every day for 6 weeks. Monday through Friday. So prayers for her in that. And then lastly, we continue to be in prayer for the Sayers family, the loss of Emery. I ask for prayers most especially for her siblings at this time. They're really dealing with some traumatic grief. So for all of these prayer requests, we say, Lord, hear our prayers. This week on Sunday morning, we will be continuing our series on resurrection backwards. And so we are journeying now into the Hebrew Bible. Last week we talked about Elijah and the woman who he miraculously, through God, gave her a child, and then the child died and he restored the child's life. And so today, or this Sunday, we're looking at the crossing of the Red Sea as a story of resurrection, as a story of new life, as a story of rebirth. And so we will begin our reading in Exodus chapter 14. Then the Lord said to Moses, tell the Israelites to turn back and set up camp in front of the I can't pronounce this word. You know what? I always say it with confidence. In front of the Red Sea. I'll just make up another word. Between Migdon and the Sea of Baal-Zephon. You should set up a camp in front of the sea. Pharaoh will think to himself, the Israelites are lost and confused in the land. The desert has trapped them. I'll make Pharaoh stubborn. He'll chase them. I'll gain honor at the expense of Pharaoh and his army, and the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord. And they did exactly that. When Egypt's king was told that the people had ran away, Pharaoh's officials changed their mind about the people. They said, what have we done, letting Israelites go free from slavery to us? So he sent for his chariot and took an army with him. He took 600 elite chariots and all of Egypt's other chariots with captains on all of them. The Lord made Pharaoh, Egypt's king, stubborn, and he chased the Israelites who were leaving confidently. The Egyptians, including all of Pharaoh's horse-drawn chariots, his cavalry, and his army, chased them and caught up with them. They were camped by the sea. And so, as Pharaoh drew closer, the Israelites looked back and saw the Egyptians marching toward them. The Israelites were terrified and called out to the Lord. They said to Moses, weren't there enough graves in Egypt that you took us away to die in the desert? Why have you done this by bringing us out of Egypt like this? Didn't we tell you the same thing in Egypt? Leave us alone. Let us work for the Egyptians. It would be better for us to work for the Egyptians than to die in the desert. But Moses said to the people, don't be afraid. Stand your ground and watch the Lord rescue you today. The Egyptians you see today you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. Just keep still. Then the Lord said to Moses, why do you cry out to me? Tell the Israelites to get moving. As for you, lift your shepherd's rod, stretch out your hand over the sea, and split it into two, so that the Israelites can go into the sea on dry ground. But me, I'll make the Egyptians stubborn, so they will go after them. And I will gain honor at the expense of Pharaoh, all his army, the chariots, his cavalry. The Egyptians will know that I am the Lord when I gain honor at the expense of Pharaoh, his chariots, and his cavalry. God's messenger, who had been in front of Israel's camp, moved and went behind them. The column of cloud moved from the front and took its place behind them. It stood between Egypt's camp and Israel's camp. The cloud remained there, and when darkness fell, it lit up the night. They did not come near each other all night long. Then Moses stretched out his hand over the sea. The Lord pushed back the sea by a strong east wind all night, turning the sea into dry land. The waters were split in two. The Israelites walked into the sea on dry ground. The waters formed a wall for them on their right and on their left. The Egyptians chased them and went into the sea after them. All of Pharaoh's horses, chariots, and cavalry. As morning approached, the Lord looked down on the Egyptian camp from the column of lightning and the cloud, and threw the Egyptian camp into a panic. The Lord jammed their chariot wheels so they wouldn't turn easily. The Egyptians said, "Let's get away from the Israelites, because the Lord is fighting for them against Egypt." Then the Lord said to Moses, "Stretch out your hand over the sea, so that the waters come back and uncover the Egyptians, their chariots, and their cavalry." So Moses stretched out his hand over the sea. At daybreak, the sea turned to its normal depth. The Egyptians were driving toward it, and the Lord tossed the Egyptians into the sea. The waters returned and covered the chariots and the cavalry. Moses' entire army that had followed them into the sea, none of them remained. The Israelites, however, walked on dry ground through the sea. The waters formed a wall for them on their right hand and on their left. The Lord rescued Israel from the Egyptians that day. Israel saw the Egyptians dead on the seashore. Israel saw the amazing power of the Lord against the Egyptians. The people were in awe of the Lord, and they believed in the Lord and his servant Moses. This is the word of God for the people of God, and we say thanks be to God. There's many images of new life, resurrection, and God's power over the forces of sin and brokenness in this passage. And so I just want to point out a couple of things this morning and kind of give you a little nugget of where I'm going in my sermon on Sunday morning. The image of Pharaoh and his desire to go after the Israelites, the desire to be relentless against them. Pharaoh really is the image of our sin and our brokenness in our lives. Pharaoh's pursuit of Israel is really like that presence of sin. And God's desire for our lives is to defeat that sin and that brokenness in us, for us. And so that we can go through the waters of recreation and be born again in Jesus Christ. Now another little nugget that is pretty powerful is that this is the Lord's battle, that the Lord will fight for us, that all we have to do is sit and watch. Now I would dare say that there's more that we have to do than just sit and watch. I mean, it is our responsibility as Christians to attend to our spiritual disciplines. And that when we draw close to God and we have faith in God, that those spiritual disciplines remind us of the presence of God in our lives and God's desires for us and God's hope for us. And so I think that there is a balance there of, yes, this is the Lord's battle, but we are the one who are cheering God on. We are the ones who are aligning ourselves with God's will and God's ways. We are the ones saying that we want to be rescued. We are the ones saying and recognizing God's love for us in and through our spiritual disciplines. But the Lord desires to defeat that sin and brokenness in our lives. God's promise to fight for his people, and God finished that battle on the cross. But he is not finished with sin. God still fights for us. He will never leave us on our own to fight this battle. The power of the resurrection in our lives is that God continues, even to this day, to fight for the life that we can have through love and through the resurrection. And so there's many images in this story. I encourage you to read Exodus chapter 14 for yourself and just circle a word. Highlight something that encourages you in that resurrection story for yourself. Where do you see God in that story? Where do you see the power over sin and brokenness in your life? Where do you see the victory of Jesus Christ in that story for you? What is it that you've surrendered over to God? How has God brought you through the waters to be born again, or to have a new life, to be recreated in the likeness and image of God in Jesus Christ? So also look for those creation images in there too. There's a lot of creation images in Exodus 14, and then those are the recreation images as well. And so yes, we have a lot of opportunities to open up this box of Exodus chapter 14 and to talk about resurrection in that passage. And so what I want to encourage you, what is your story in that? Where do you find yourself in Exodus 14? And may you discover God's resurrection power for yourself today. I pray this for you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Have a great day, and God bless you. And bye-bye.